JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, erratic bus driver held after committing several breaches. A bus driver was held after it was recorded committing several traffic breaches and putting several motorists at risk in Halfway Tree has now been charged after the bus was seized. The police said the driver, whose name they have not released, has been slapped with multiple charges, and there are indications that more could be handed down in the coming days. The driver has been charged with dangerous driving, disobeying traffic light, no PPV badge, defective tires, and permitting body protrusion. The tint was removed and the sound system seized. Cops charge Portmore car thieves. The 4 people detained following a car robbery in Portmore, St. Catherine 2 Wednesdays ago, have been charged. The 3 men and a woman were arrested after the vehicle they stole from a woman in the municipality crashed when it was intercepted by cops. Charged with robbery with aggravation, conspiracy to robbery, and unlawful wounding are Joel Saunders, 23, from Mandela Terrace, Kingston 11, Richard Beckford, 25, a labourer, Nikhil Angus, 25, a bearer, and Tanisa Palmer, 23, a dancer, all from Fitzgerald Avenue, Kingston 13. The 4 were charged by the Portmore CIB yesterday and are scheduled to appear in the St. Catherine Parish Court on November 1, 2022. It was reported that about 6:05 a.m. on Wednesday, October 12, 2022, a woman and her son were in a Honda Fit motor car at the intersection of Brayton Boulevard and Brayton Road when armed robbers pounced. The robbers stole the car and an alarm was raised. The police intercepted the vehicle on Mandela Highway. The driver of the stolen car attempted to evade the cops but crashed into a railing in the vicinity of the New Haven community. The car and its occupants, as well as the pilot vehicle and its occupants, were all taken into police custody. Motorist arrested after gun found in car on Old Harbour Road. A motorist was arrested on suspicion of breaches of the Firearms Act following the seizure of a loaded gun in his motor vehicle on Old Harbour Road in St. Catherine on Thursday. Reports are that about 2:30 a.m., the police signaled the driver of a vehicle to stop. The man complied, and during a search of the car, they found the Smith & Wesson pistol with a magazine loaded with 5 rounds of ammunition. The driver's home was subsequently searched by the police, and an additional 2 rounds of ammunition were seized. The motorist has been arrested on suspicion of illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. The man's name cannot be released unless he has been charged. St. James Carpenter crashes into house while escaping gunmen. As St. James Carpenter is counting his blessings, following an incident on Friday morning where he was attacked and shot at by 5 men armed with high-powered rifles, he managed to escape the men, but ended up crashing into a house in Hendon, Norwood in St. James. It is reported that about 1:15 a.m., the 25-year-old tradesman who hails from Norwood was driving home along the Hendon Main Road when he came upon 5 men armed with rifles. The gunmen attempted to stop the carpenter, who sped away from the scene, but was chased by the gunmen, who fired several shots inside his car. The victim, in his bid to escape, ran off the road and crashed into a 3-bedroom house while the owners were asleep in bed. Luckily, he was not injured. The police were summoned, and upon arrival, an investigation was carried out. Calm returning to Gregory Park after Big Red killing. Residents traumatized by war and factions in Gregory Park have lauded the vigilance of the St. Catherine South Police since the demise of Kirk Big Red Wint, who was wanted for several murders and shootings, including that of Sergeant Averill McCollin, who was gunned down while playing dominoes in a yard on Cottage Drive last September. An image from Wint's night went viral last Saturday evening, brazenly displaying a Glock 19 and Taurus handgun, 2 of the most revered weapons among gunmen, alongside 3 bottles of white rum and ammunition. A memorial t-shirt bearing Wint's image, in addition to other funeral paraphernalia, was laid out on what appeared to be a domino table with zinc fences in the background. Wint was cornered on Friday, October 7, by members of St. Catherine South Special Operations Team in his Bangor Gully stronghold, where residents said he ran amok as an extortionist and launched attacks on rival gangs from Gulf, Mexico, and Clark's Lane, according to police sources. A source from the area said that Wint, also known as Pepper, played his last hand after attempting to rape a man in the area, further infuriating residents, whose cooperation is believed to have led to the cops cornering him in an area where he was previously elusive. Wint, the source said, had extorted shopkeepers in the Bangor Gully area of Christian Penn and waged war on rival gangs, prompting reprisals, which residents said led to deaths and the creation of borders. Since Wint's death, the St. Catherine South Police have maintained a presence in the area, including acting on information about the alleged night. That image was probably taken early in the day because when we got there, they had already dispersed. No one was around, said Superintendent Upton Nicholson, acting divisional commander. Our presence in Gregory Park is continuous and around the clock, not only Gregory Park, but across the entire division. Our aim is to ensure citizens are safe and opportunities for criminals reduced, Nicholson added. The cops' presence has since led to some semblance of normality for residents who have been able to conduct business and to participate in recreational activities. On Thursday, August 4, 8 houses were firebombed in Gregory Park and a man killed in a police shootout when the team that was responding to the arson attacks came under fire from gunmen while in the Dyke Road area. 4 high-powered rifles and a handgun were seized in that incident, the second time in as many days that criminals had torched homes in the area. 2 days earlier, 3 houses were firebombed in the community while gunmen traded bullets. Bail revoked for accused sexual predator who reoffends while on bail. Marlon Millis, the Clarendon man who was charged with sexual assault of 2 young girls in Clarendon in March 2022, has had his bail revoked after being charged while on bail with similar offences in Westmoreland. Millis, 43, was first arrested in Clarendon on March 16. At the time, he was accused of committing serious sexual offences against a 12-year-old girl in 4 parts in the parish. While in custody, he was implicated in another case of sexual assault, this one against a 16-year-old girl in November 2021. He was placed on an identification parade and was pointed out. He was then charged. The Clarendon Parish Court granted Millis bail on July 14 after his 3rd court appearance. He was ordered to stay away from the victims and the parish of Clarendon, except when attending court, and was made to report to the Negril police station on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. He was also ordered to surrender his travel documents. However, Millis was soon on the radar of the Westmoreland police in relation to the investigation of 2 incidents of sexual assault, again against young girls, one of them 12 years old. He was arrested on Saturday, October 15, in relation to 2 incidents on Tuesday, October 11, and later charged with additional offences under the Sexual Offences Act. He is now awaiting his day in court in Westmoreland. Cops ramp up patrols and operations in Montego Bay as Christmas approaches. With a spike in murders within the inner city of Montego Bay, St. James, Assistant Commissioner of Police Clifford Chambers has indicated that the police will be moving to make the second city safer over the coming weeks as the Christmas season approaches, especially with the introduction of a mobile police station. We'll be pushing this mobile police station into the space at an appropriate time, and again, outside of that, we'll continue to push into the known hotspots, Chambers said. He stated that the police will be out in their numbers, with several departments of the Jamaica Constabulary Force lending support to the effort to tackle rising crime. With regards to the Operation Restore Paradise, that is number 1, and with Operation Relentless, that dovetails into that. And what we did was prepare and present them to the High Command, which is the operational plan going into Christmas, said Chambers. He says that this resulted in the need for more manpower, noting that numbers have been boosted. We got over 40 personnel over a week ago, 20 of which have since been placed within the Barnett Street area. We also have some additional motorcycles and motorcycle police in St. James itself, said Chambers, who is in charge of Area 1, which covers St. James, Trelawney, Hanover and Westmoreland. He added that the police are working with the St. James Municipal Corporation to have vendors licensed and accommodated in designated vending zones. Chambers related that the police will be pushing a municipality of security solutions into the upcoming holidays. St. James recorded 4 murders since last Friday night, with 2 of these homicides occurring within the city of Montego Bay. About 6 a.m. on Tuesday, 34-year-old Marvin Griffiths, a student of Lottery in St. James, was discovered shot to death along the Old Fort Road in Montego Bay. 30-year-old Quayne Nesbeth, a gardener of Niagara in the parish, was also gunned down outside the Total Service Station along Barnett Street in the city about 9 p.m. last Friday. The other 2 persons killed were 44-year-old Rowan James, a construction worker of Coke Road in Glendavon, who was shot about 7:45 p.m. on Tuesday, just 4 days after 28-year-old Tyrone Palachi was also gunned down in the Saigon community in Barrett Town. Since the start of the year, more than 160 persons have been slain in the parish of St. James. Conman who impersonated Vaz in motor vehicle scam pleads guilty. The corporate area man was charged with obtaining money by false pretense and fraudulent conversion, receiving cash above $1 million after he used the name of Portland Western Member of Parliament Darrell Vaz to con people out of more than $4 million, on Thursday pleaded guilty in the St. Andrew Parish Court. Sean Lathman, a 35-year-old merchandise of Kingston 19, is to be sentenced on November 18 and was instructed by the judge to ensure he makes full restitution before then. The court also that Lathman, through phone calls and text messages, told the complainants that he was Vaz and he had connections with an upcoming motor vehicle auction at Kingston Wharf. The complainants reportedly shelled out their money to him for motor vehicles, but later became suspicious and reported the matter to the police. The Kingston West Police Proactive Investigation Unit then staged a sting operation in which Lathman was held while he was collecting money from one of the complainants. On the first day of the trial, he turned up and entered a guilty plea on the charge of obtaining money by false pretense. So the other charges against him, the prosecution offered no evidence, as he already pleaded guilty on the main charge, a source said. It was more than one complainant, but some of the people shied away and only some of the people who were scammed were willing to follow it to the end, added the source. Following the guilty plea by Lathman, Vaz, who was in court, commended the complainants who saw the case through, as well as the investigating officers. In my more than 30 years in public life, there have been several attempts to smear my name, and I was prepared to see this one through. I was told that based on my statement I would not be needed in court, but I wanted to see the scammer punished, Vaz said. I am determined to defend my good name and my integrity, so I'm glad that the law has caught up with someone who impersonated me and used me to defraud people, added Vaz. In sports news, West Indies didn't turn up in Ireland drubbing, says coach. Head coach Phil Simmons said his West Indies team didn't turn up and was back to the drawing board after Ireland dumped the two-time champions out of the T20 World Cup on Friday. The West Indies World Cup ended in the first one at Hobart, a far cry from winning the title in 2012 and 2016, and the latest disappointment for the once powerful Caribbean side. They similarly won only one match at last year's World Cup. We just didn't turn up today, Simmons said after the West Indies were thrashed by 9 wickets by Ireland in a match they had to win to progress to the Super 12 stage. Disciplined bowling restricted the West Indies to 146 for 5, with Garrett Delaney taking a career best 3 for 16, before the Irish romped to their target for the loss of just 1 wicket with 15 balls to spare. We started well with the bat, but we just didn't continue, added Simmons. I think when you sum it up, we outplayed in all departments today. They bowled well, we batted well at the start but didn't carry on, and they just batted well and batted us out of the game, the head coach said. The West Indies came into the tournament in Australia with a new-look team, led by Nicholas Perron, after the likes of Chris Gale, Dwayne Bravo and Karen Pollard retired. Andre Russell was overlooked. Reflecting on the West Indies' dramatic fall from the top, Simmons said, "We have the batsmen, the capabilities, we just haven't been putting it together. Our bowlers are showing up 9 out of 10 times, but the batters haven't really shown up. We have got to go back and look at our structure and how we play the game, and make sure that when we come to competitions, and when we play in bilateral series, we are ready and able to do what's necessary for each situation of the game." JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.